630 Ched. 630 Ched.
Edmonton This Week, your City of Edmonton connection, highlighting City of Edmonton programs and initiatives important to you.
Welcome to Edmonton This Week, your City of Edmonton connection, brought to you by the City of Edmonton. I'm Wade Sorochan. Each week we bring you the latest from the city with the people directly involved in helping make Edmonton a great place to live, work, and play. On today's program, the latest on the Walterdale Hill Road closure and bridge replacement project. Also, the city is announcing the launch of pre-application meetings for major development permits for commercial, industrial, or multi-dwelling buildings. And Fort Edmonton Park turns 40, and we'll highlight the opening weekend celebrations and signature events happening at the park throughout the entire summer. All that plus the community spotlight coming up. So up first, Walterdale Hill Road closed this week for realignment. Now, the road closure is expected to last 3 months. Construction on the $155 million Walterdale Bridge replacement project began in 2013, and construction is anticipated to be completed by fall of 2015. Now, while the bridge will remain open to traffic for the duration of construction, there are a number of impacts to traffic, bus routes, and River Valley Trail users. And Alan Bartman is General Supervisor, Special Projects, Roads Design, and Construction for the city, joining us with the latest on this major project. Alan, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So firstly, Alan, last summer, we're all aware that Queen Elizabeth Park Road was closed for realignment and was actually completed earlier than scheduled. Could we see the same for the Walterdale Hill Road opening to traffic before the scheduled August 4th date?
That's, of course, our hope. Right now, though, we are certainly on schedule with the closure of Walterdale Hill Road and the reconstruction realignment.
Now, what detours are you recommending for motorists while Walterdale Hill Road is closed for the next 3 months?
Primarily, what we're recommending would be either Scona Road or Grote Road, and the reason for that is just sort of to avoid the area, because what we're essentially doing with the detours is funneling all of the northbound traffic from 109th Street as well as 103rd Street through Queenie Park Road and then across the Walterdale Bridge.
Now, there's also transit detours in place during the road closure.
That's correct. The buses that typically would go up 109th Street and then down Walterdale Hill Road, what we've done is essentially detoured them eastbound down Saskatchewan Drive, and then they cross the Walterdale Bridge as per normal through Queenie Park Road.
And what about access to Kinsman Sports Centre and the John Walter Museum?
Okay, so access to the Sports Centre as well as the museum will be provided at all times through the project. So essentially, to get down there now, you would take the detour, come down Queenie Park Road, and once you get to the bottom of the hill, you just go straight across at the lights and into either the Sports Centre or over to the museum.
And Alan, explain the major features of the new Walterdale Bridge for motorists and pedestrians.
Okay, so the new bridge will have 3 lanes of northbound traffic. On the west side of the vehicle lanes, there will be a wider sidewalk that will be within the arch. And then on the east side, on the outside of the arch, will be a shared use path, which is actually has some separation from the bridge and is supported by the arches as well through cables.
And will the lifespan of the new bridge be 100 years as well?
Yes, we would expect that or even more. I mean, we've designed it with a 100-year life, and typically with the bridge, we're able to rehabilitate them and so on and extend that life.
And while you're taking down the old bridge, will there be traffic disruption?
We don't expect any major traffic disruptions when we're pulling the old bridge down. Certain phases, there may be some single lane closures or temporary closures.
Perfect. Well, stay up to date on the Walterdale Bridge replacement project with live views of the construction and an interactive video archive at edmonton.ca/Walterdale Bridge. Alan, thank you very much for your time today.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's Alan Bartman, General Supervisor, Special Projects, Roads Design, and Construction for the city with the latest on the Walterdale Bridge replacement project. Up next, the City of Edmonton's current planning branch is announcing the launch of pre-application meetings for major development permits for commercial, industrial, or multi-dwelling buildings, including new construction and renovations or changes of use that result in a substantial alteration to the site. Now, to explain what this all means to the city and Edmontonians is Gail Hickmore, General Supervisor, Development Approvals for the city. Gail, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you.
Gail, what's the purpose of the pre-application meetings for major development permits?
Well, it became apparent to us in consultation with members of the industry that we needed to improve knowledge sharing and provide more efficiency and transparency in our decision-making process. And the pre-application meeting allows us to do that with the industry.
And what is the benefit to a developer for going through the pre-application meetings?
Well, the benefit and purpose of the pre-application meeting is to provide industry partners and the city with the opportunity to identify issues, share information, and outline supplementary information required to support their development permit application.
Just for clarification, what is considered a major development?
A major development permit is an industrial building, a multifamily residential building, commercial buildings, institutional, a school site, a school, the larger type of developments.
And there seems to be a lot of development going on in Edmonton right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very busy time for us.
Is there any height restriction for buildings in Edmonton?
There is height restrictions. Every property in Edmonton is zoned. Each zone has regulations and guidelines that have the maximum height allowed per zone.
So it could differ from one part of the city to another part of the city?
Absolutely. It could differ from one lot to another lot.
Oh, okay.
Depending on the zone of the property.
Well, more details on the pre-application meeting process are available at edmonton.ca/pre-application. Gail, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coming up after the break, Fort Edmonton Park turns 40. You're listening to Edmonton This Week, your City of Edmonton connection. I'm Wade Sorochan. We're back right after this. Welcome back to Edmonton This Week, your City of Edmonton connection. I'm Wade Sorochan. Up next, the May long weekend will be a special opening for Fort Edmonton Park because the park is celebrating its 40th anniversary. It'll be a celebration of historic proportions, and Suzette Mulatto is Communications Coordinator for Fort Edmonton Park, joining us with more on the 40th anniversary celebrations. Suzette, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Wade. Thanks for having me.
Suzette, so what is planned for the May long weekend opening to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Fort Edmonton Park?
Yeah, so we're very excited. We're going to have a big party in each of our eras. So we'll start with the 1846 fort, and then we'll move up to 1885 street, where they'll have a special party location, and it's pretty much going to be partying through the ages in time. And we're celebrating 40 years of building memories with all of our visitors.
Where was the original Fort Edmonton located?
It was by the legislature.
Are there any buildings today at Fort Edmonton Park that were the original buildings from the original fort?
We do have some that are, the original. We also have a lot of artifacts in each of our buildings, and we have just over 80 buildings here on site. Yeah,
well, how has Fort Edmonton Park evolved over the past 40 years?
So in the last 40 years, of course, we've added new buildings. We've enhanced our programming and all that. Over the next few years here, we have three main projects that we're working on. The first one being our commercial building expansion. The building is called the Windsor Albion building. So that's the next one on the list, and that building will be an extension of the Hotel Selkirk. It'll be located between the Selkirk and the Capitol Theatre on 1920th Street.
Well, Suzette, highlight some of the signature events occurring this year at Fort Edmonton Park.
Yeah, so we have our two biggest events this summer. One of them is the Celtic Gathering, and the Celtic Gathering is celebrating its 25th anniversary. It's a full-on Celtic celebration with dancing, singing, bagpipes, fiddling. Our favorite one is the Heavy Games, and that will be happening July 12th and 13th.
Well, for more information on all the activities happening at the park, hours of operation and admission fees, and to plan your trip, go to fortedmontonpark.ca. Suzette, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, and we look forward to having you and everyone else here at the fort.
All right, time now for the Community Spotlight. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and City of Edmonton attractions have some special events in store for all those special moms out there. From noon to 4 p.m., the Edmonton Valley Zoo will be putting a spotlight on moms. Moms can expect complimentary mini massages and manicures, magic shows, airbrush, face painting, animal encounters, live music, and so much more to make it a wonderful Mother's Day experience at the Edmonton Valley Zoo. To learn more about these great events on Mother's Day, just call 311. You can listen to archived episodes of this program at edmonton.ca/Edmonton This Week. Subscribe to the free podcast on iTunes. Just search Edmonton This Week. And we love to hear from you. You can email us anytime at etw@edmonton.ca. Edmonton This Week is heard every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. right here on 630 Ched. On next week's program, details on the Home Saver event, a one-day sale of energy-efficient products for your home. That feature and more next week. Until then, I'm Wade Sorochan. Thanks for listening to Edmonton This Week, your City of Edmonton connection.
630 Ched.